Hello friends, today we will talk about mantras. Mantras are a common, very common aspects of Hinduism. In almost every Hindu home we can find people chanting mantras. But what is the real purpose of a mantra? What does it do? Is there any direct benefit from the mantra? People chant Gayatri mantra, for example, continuously 100 times, and then they say, yes, these mantras are very powerful and you get the direct benefits. Where does the actual power of the mantra lie? Is it in the language? Is it in the letters? Is it in the words? Or is it in the pronunciation? Where exactly does the real power of the mantra lie? If it is in the pronunciation, then the temple priests, we are just chanting, let's say 100 times. But the temple priests, they are chanting these mantras throughout the day. And for years, they should have attained to God. Do we ever hear any news that the temple priests have attained God? No. So, the power of the mantra is not in the pronunciation, not in the way, or not just by reciting it. That's it. As simple as that. Anyone can recite a mantra, but the power does not depend on the way you write or talk or pronounce and so on. So where does the actual power lie? It's an important question. We see in daily lives, we see people, they'll be doing the household work and chanting the name of God or some mantras now. Let's say continuously. Is that of any benefit? In the Bible, in Matthew chapter 6, Jesus says, do not use vain repetitions during your prayer. Just don't use vain repetitions, telling the same thing again and again. Do not do that in prayers. So what does that mean? Don't use mantras. It seems that it is completely opposite to what we have in Hinduism. In the next chapter, again in the Bible, Matthew 7, Jesus says, and it's an important verse, Jesus says, except for those who does the will of my Father, without doing that, those who just say me, Lord, Lord, will not enter the kingdom of God. So if you say, we find that in temples, in churches, we see people shouting, oh Jesus, 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 Jesus. And Jesus is saying, those who say Lord, Lord or Christ, Christ will not enter the kingdom of God. What we do is completely opposite to what Jesus has said. How does that translate to Hinduism? We see people chanting the name of gods, Rama, 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 Rama. People do that. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Is that of any benefit? Is there any difference in the name of the gods? Chanting Rama or Krishna does not make any difference, because ultimately it is Vishnu, right? So if Jesus says, you will not get anything by chanting my name, calling my name, Can we think in any way that we will gain something by chanting Rama's name or Krishna's name? There should be a logic. Yeah? So, generally, mantras can be used for two different purposes. One is to achieve something in worldly life. It could be anything. Passing an exam, building a house, buying a car, whatever. To do that, you need focus, concentration, attention, everything. The way how mind works is that a series of thoughts arises one by one, continuously. This is our normal waking state. If I am sitting here, when I look, then I see the camera, then I see the chair, I see something else. So these things, these are forms, but they appear as thoughts in my mind. As soon as I start to focus my mind on one object, then my mind starts to analyze it further and the thoughts get deeper into that object. This is the way how mind works for everyone. Yeah. So out of these continuous thoughts which arises in our mind, we want to achieve one. Let's say a car. I want to buy a car. If I give the same level of importance to the car as well as my food, my dress, my house, everything else, then I will not be able to achieve my goal. That's for sure. To achieve any goal, we need to focus on the primary goal. The way to attain the focus is to reduce the intensity of the other thoughts. Let's say I have 4 thoughts: car, house, whatever. And if I need a house, for example, then I need to fix my focus or attention on this. If I do that, then these thoughts subsidize and this will be prominent. This is simple logic. Yeah? By chanting a mantra, what we do is, for example, any mantra, it could be, I don't know, for protection, you could use Narasimha Stotra, for example, yeah, to protect you from evil forces. Fine. You chant that with the goal of protecting yourself. So there are 3 factors: you chanting the mantra to achieve a goal, protection. Like this, it's a triangle. Yeah? You at one end, chanting the mantra, and this end is the goal which you want to achieve. Like this, we continue to do that. And people are happy. Yeah, I chanted this mantra and I got it. How do the atheists live? They also buy houses, they also buy cars, but they say there is no God. How do they live? How do they get these things without mantra, without God? The common ground is God is not involved in this process. It is purely the ability of your mind to focus on the desired object so that the intensity of the other thoughts or other objects subsidize, and you will get to know more about your goal. For example, if you want to buy a house, you are focused on buying a house, then you will come to know who is offering loans, who is building the walls, Where can I get cement for a cheaper price? So these things will come, or you will come to know about these facts automatically, because that is your core interest. Yeah? So this is the logic, yeah, of focus. Mantras on one hand can be used to attain something directly, yeah, like how I said, physical health, for example. The same logic applies for anything which we might require in the worldly life. If you want to become a genius, for example, build a new design of an aeroplane, all you need is focus, concentration, knowledge. To do that, you have to reduce your other thoughts and then focus on one to attain that goal. So mantras can be used. Any mantras, does not matter. Any mantras. So are they good? You can attain everything. What does Krishna say about this? People, as I said, people say Rama, 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 Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Let's say they chant these mantras very often. Does that take us to God? Do you know what Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 42-43? Don't trust me, you read it for yourself. The misguided ones who delight in the melodious chanting of the Vedas, yeah, without knowing the real meaning of the Vedas, thinking that the Vedas are, let's say, just some things which can grant them heavenly enjoyments. So what essentially it means is, the first word is very important, the misguided ones. Lord Krishna is saying, those who chant the Vedas, which is mantras, without knowing the actual purpose, are the misguided ones, because they do not know the real meaning of the Vedas and they do not know the actual purpose of Vedas. Why? Jesus Christ says, those who say, Lord, Lord, cannot enter the kingdom of God. And Krishna says like this. Why? Because with these things we can achieve whatever we want in the world. That is true. But we cannot attain God. It's a completely different direction. To attain God means to realize who we are. That's it. That's the essence. Yeah. So our mind, as I said earlier, consists of series of thoughts. If we manage to suppress all these thoughts, then we end up in a thoughtless state, or in other words, it is called as a no mind state. This is the baseline for any spiritual practice. This is what they try to achieve with meditation. Yeah? Dhyana, yoga, some key terms. So, what is the relationship between mantra and this? To find out who we are. So, instead of focusing on buying a house out of, let's say, 4 different thoughts, we focus on a single mantra. That's it. So we take a mantra and we repeat that without directing our attention anywhere else. That is the key point. So the real power of the mantra does not depend on the way you pronounce or the way you write or spell it out. No. It depends on the mindset of the person who is reciting the mantra. That's why the pujari is still doing pujas even after 50 years or a salary of 5,000 rupees. If not, he would have seen God. In some public celebrations or functions or like marriage and so on, we see some pujaris doing pujas. Yeah, they will be reciting the mantras, Om Namaha, but they will be just looking everywhere. They will be reciting the mantras. That will be going on. That is of no use. As a ceremony, it is good. Yeah? The priest came, he recited the mantras and he went. Fine. What is the use? There is no use, because the real power of the mantra depends on the mindset of the person reciting it. So, as I said, instead of these thoughts, we select a mantra, focus on it. If we manage to keep our attention on this mantra, all the other thoughts subsidize. After a while, this mantra also goes away automatically, and we end up in a no state of mind, or let's say no thought state. This is the essence of spirituality. There is a Siddha called Siva Vakya. He would say, Sattanada Bhagavata, the one who recites scriptures, yeah, at the time of death will Vedas come and rescue you. Those who are happy in reciting the various mantras and so on, are the Vedas going to come and rescue you at the time of your death? No. There is only one thing which can rescue us is before our death, is finding who we really are. That's it. That is the only way. We are doing all the spiritual practices just to come to this one single point. Who am I? Except this question, there is nothing else in spiritual practices. Nothing else. So, mantra in general, if you split the word mantra, man refers to the mind. Tra means it's an instrument. So, mantra is an instrument for the mind, a technique through which we can arrest the contents of the mind or the thoughts of the mind. So, in Tamil, there is a beautiful saying, Manamadu semmayanal mandiram jabikka vendam. That means, if your heart is pure, or if your mind is pure, you don't need to recite any mantras. Because the goal, as I say, is the same, to reduce the thoughts and to come to a no state of mind. Regardless of which mantra we use, does not matter. As long as we know where the power of the mantra lies, any mantra is okay. Any mantra, Gayatri mantra for example, is the most powerful one. Fine, what does it say? O Lord, the one who created the three worlds, please come and enlighten my mind, or please come and guide my intellect. That's all it means. If you try to look into the contents of the mantra, you will understand what it means, and then you, with your intellect, try to focus on that. Before you utter any mantra, try to understand what it means. That is very, very, very important.